It is 3rd of July today, and Warren and I are deep in pre-production. This episode, we're going to talk about that in a lot more detail and the various elements that composes, in addition to what we've already talked so far. But I thought I'd just do a quick production update in terms of the film. So we are about 2/3 of the way through storyboarding the whole film at this moment in time, doing that in 2D, 3D in a tool called PreViz Pro, which has been a fantastic tool for us to use. And mapping out all the locations. So we're doing that. We're pretty much all set on our locations, which is great. And it's all about now kind of really getting creative and telling the story of the film with the storyboards, which we're having a lot of fun doing. So how have you found that so far, Warren, doing all that virtually?
Yeah, the storyboarding's been interesting, isn't it? Because it's kind of, I've done it previously, but it's always been, you've had to deal with them. My little scrawled drawings of stick people, just to give us an idea. So it's kind of in my head on set what we're doing. But this has been great in that we're using this bit of kit that we're using, which is just, it's a bit more sort of digitally based thing. But like we were saying the other day, what's quite interesting, I think, is that it's quite stressful because you are building the movie. You're sort of making the film in front of you on the screen, but without the adrenaline of being on a film set. So it's quite tiring, isn't it? That's what we're finding a little bit, that 4 hours is kind of plenty when it comes to storyboarding, because it's you're making big decisions about this film we're going to be putting out into the world, but without the adrenaline of a film set.
Yeah, definitely. It's really. Well, especially because the rooms are mapped to the size of the space, and we're moving virtual cameras around, and we're seeing, the shots before we shoot them. I suppose it's one of those things where it feels like we're building the foundation, the structure of the film, and then also, no doubt, as we get on set, things will change, shots will change. But we go in. Really, the purpose of this is going with the clearest idea to articulate and show physically to the cast and crew what our days are.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest benefit for this, is that we can pin this stuff up on the wall at the shoot, and everyone, from makeup, first AD, lighting, camera, actors can all see how much we've done, what we need to do, where we're going next, what shots next. I think it's invaluable, I hope. And it kind of frees up, the plan being that it frees up the actors, who are obviously, the people we need freed up the most to be able to play and have some fun with it. I think that's the key for me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's going well. So yeah, 3rd of July, we are literally a couple of months out from first day of principal photography on the 7th of September. Time's just vanishing before our eyes, isn't it? So it's getting exciting. Well, it's always been exciting, but it's getting more exciting as we get to that date. So yeah, we'll continue giving those sort of brief updates. Our first newsletter is going out as well to those people who've signed up on our website. So if you haven't had a chance to do that, please do that. ZakTheRipperMovie.com. And we'll jump into today's episode. So we've titled it Pre-Production, which obviously covers absolutely loads of things and some of the things we've already discussed. But I've kind of broken it down into a few sort of points to chat about. So the first one was really about, and this is a task you absolutely love, and that's scheduling the shoot and managing diaries and managing, how we're going to do all this. So Warren, do you want to talk to a little bit about kind of how we've gone about that, or rather how you've gone about it, because you've kind of owned that part, and the challenges you faced, and how you've overcome them?
Well, yeah, it's been an ever-moving entity, the schedule, and it is, again, hark back to my previous stuff a lot, but often I've made kind of little tiny things with like a cast of 2 or 3 or 1 in one location, which of course makes scheduling, much easier. I think we've got 20, 25 in the cast, and there's a lot of day players there, and our main sort of 4 or 5 key cast. So that's a lot of people. We've got a bigger crew. I think we've got 17 in the crew this time. And you've got 20 days in September to schedule. And the problem, it's not a problem. It's a problem that needs sorting out. But our main cast, which is like Tiff Stevenson, Jack Skipper, Richard Herring, are stand-up comedians by trade. And that, inevitably means a lot of their dates are already tied up. So they kind of come with a lot of dates they already can't do. And, it's taking that, putting them in the spreadsheet and then trying to sort of meander this way around getting everyone, because some days you need this person, not that person. And yeah, it's been really, really difficult. I think we're there. Fingers crossed. I think we have kind of got there. But again, it's that thing that you're one person away. You're one actor saying, "Oh, I can't do that Tuesday," away from the entire thing falling apart. So it's we're there now. So I'm just kind of every day that goes by where we don't hear from an actor or an agent saying that someone can't do a day, it's a good day. That's kind of where I am with it.
It's a jigsaw, isn't it? I'm putting all those pieces together, and as you said, if one piece goes missing, then you're like, this doesn't quite work anymore. So it's just, but you've done a great job on that, and
we'll see.
Well, up to today, up to the 3rd of July. But it's some of that is out of our control, isn't it? So I suppose it's being realistic about the challenges that faces, and the more crew, the more cast that you've got, the more complex that scheduling becomes. Easier with a smaller crew and a smaller cast, but and
easier, of course, with $100 million budget.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Then you're just buying people's time, and that's fine. You can do that. But when you're where the budget place where we are at, people have got work and they've got jobs they're already committed to. So it's been really, really interesting, and happy we've got there. I think we're there. So fingers crossed.
And then that kind of leads on to about breaking down the script as well, with regards to scheduling, because scheduling is making sure everyone's in on the right day, and it also means then the script is being broken down so we can film the scenes that we need to film in the locations we need to film them on the days we need to film them, totally out of order, a lot of them as well. So we're not filming this in a sequential linear way. So how did you go about that with the script and choosing which scenes to do in locations and matching that all up?
Yeah, I think the main thing I tried to do was to not have. I don't think we've got any unit moves. So I think once we're on a location, we're in Zoe's house or Zak's house, we are there all day. And that was kind of key, really, because that with the unit moving from one to another, as filmmakers will know, is you can lose a lot of time and energy from having to do that. So that was my first thought: is can we do these days always in one location, which we've managed to do. So that's good, because that means on your side of it, Matt, with the lighting, the camera stuff, that is better, I imagine. The fact that we're in one place all day means you can settle in, and ideally you try and do it so you're not only there for one day, you're in there for a run of days. Like we're at Zoe's, played by Tiff, is our sort of secondary lead, and we're at her house most. We're there for 8 days, and I think it's 2 consecutive 4s we're there. And that is, we did that on purpose, so that once all the kit's there, all the lights there, it can kind of stay in place. If you're going one to the other, it can get a bit messy. So try to do that. But again, that's just difficult because we're filming in a pub, and they can only accommodate us on Mondays. So where we'd have loved to have done a full week at Zoe's flat, we can't do that because we've got a break, and everything's got to go to the pub on 2 consecutive Mondays. But look, it's all part of the joy of doing this stuff. It's all good fun, and it's just I did my best to simplify it, but and currently where we are is fine, but always waiting for the next problem coming roaring at me down the tracks.
Yeah, and again, I think you've done a great job, and it's also looking on the days that we're actually in locations, the sequence in which we shoot those scenes, and okay, we're in a front room one scene, then we're in a kitchen, and then we're back in the front room. Okay, making sure that the 2 kitchen scene or the 2 front room scenes are sequenced first, and then we move. It's trying to make it as efficient, as effective as possible all of the time, isn't it? Which is, I think, largely where we're at. I'm sure we'll have a review of that as we go, but. Okay, cool. And then we talk about sort of shot lists and storyboards, which we kind of touched upon at the top of the podcast. But so with shot lists and storyboards, I went on a mission to. Essentially, we didn't have the budget to employ a storyboard artist. I think maybe in an ideal world, we've gone out there and said, can we work with a storyboard artist? And they would have created our boards for us. But realistically, we just didn't have the budget for that. So we had to look at other solutions. So I went crawling around the internet, looking for different solutions, some of which I tried that didn't quite work for what I wanted to do. And then eventually came across this tool called PreViz Pro, which, sort of some people who are listening or watching will be aware of. And it was a 2D and 3D storyboarding tool, but it could also produce animatics as well. Fairly low cost in terms of accessing the technology, but super, super effective. So I did a little trial on that. constructed a scene, got familiar with the software and thought, yeah, no, this is perfect. This is what we can do. And then from that, we've worked together essentially both in person and virtually, going through the script. So the tool enables us to upload our script, and then it creates all our scenes and puts all our characters in the scenes, and then we have to build the environment. So we went out to all the different locations, measured up the spaces, and then put those measurements into PreViz Pro. So we had realistic 2D and 3D environments that we're shooting in, and then populate them with the right sort of furniture. And you can go into stupid amounts of detail with this software. We've gone probably for a lighter sort of amount of detail, but just a real sense of what the space is. And I think that's really helped us, as we've talked about earlier on, construct the film before we film it, and really think about our intentionality around shots, around blocking, around composition, and how we're going to light it as well. And the intention then is to do another pass with my gaffer and that assistant and work out how we're going to light it. We know the lookbooks and stuff and what we want, but yeah, I just wondered if you had anything else to add on shot lists and storyboards.
Yeah, it's been, I think the tool that I've enjoyed most, I think, is that once we finish storyboarding the scene, which is quite a clunky process, we have to storyboard it over the shoulders wide, the usual stuff, is being able to go into the software and watch it, literally hit play and watch the scene run through with the script in front of you. And it's nice because like you're seeing the film basically, and then you're seeing the film without the personality of the actors, which is everything in this project, I think. And it's lovely to see it. Because it means I think we both felt, haven't we? We've just kind of relaxed a bit because it's taking the chaos out of this massive project and putting it into these boards. And now you think, okay, we've got that. We now know exactly what we need to get that morning. We'll get it. And, we've then got our movie can start being built. And I think that, no, this has been great. I think, like I say, it's not something I've done before, particularly. It's always been scribbled drawings on backs of script pages. But, this is the way forward for us, I think. Again, it goes back to that thing for this project. It's about freeing up actors to have fun and enjoy it, and not, I don't like a stressful film set at all. I love a lovely, calm, fun environment, which is very hard to do because often they get stressful. But at the core, I want this to be, an actor's piece, really. And I think what we're doing is all funneling towards that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think my expectations with this is that storyboarding isn't a silver bullet, and also different filmmakers, some storyboard, some don't. Everyone has their own kind of, preference in preparation. For me, I do like this, and I think it helps me understand kind of what we're going for. So we're not just going into a space and go, okay, right, how have we thought about how we're going to block this?
Yeah.
What happens in this scene?
Yeah.
Who does what? Where do they go? So, a lot of those questions are answered beforehand. And then inevitably when you get on set, there will be complications and challenges or movements that actors want to do.
But and it's interesting, we're having conversations, aren't we? That we're not arguing, but we're certainly putting our points of view forward about what scenes should be looking like together, now, rather than on set. Like I think that's the last thing that anyone wants on set is at the DOP and the director having those discussions, like how are we going to shoot this then on set. That's just that is not good for anyone. I'm sure there's some directors would like that sort of frisson of energy of working like that, but I think that I want calm, and that's what I want. Really.
Well, one of the Ridley Scott seems to have gone down the route of just shooting with 15 cameras on every setup and just covering everything and just pressing record and covering it all, which is obviously a different approach, and the luxury of millions and millions of pounds of budget to be able to do that, which we don't have. So we're going to be actually on that note. We're shooting this film with one camera. If a film like Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's film, if he can shoot that film on one camera, then there's no reason why we can't shoot this on one camera. So that's kind of my go-to on that one. But so the other thing was costumes and production design, which, as we've kind of gone through the storyboarding process, we've talked about different props and stuff that needs to be there, and we talked about costumes. I know this week you've been out with Alouette, our costume designer and production manager. Do you want to talk a little bit about kind of that process, where you're at with that?
Yeah, again, it's largely spreadsheet based. So we've got this enormous props broken down to scene props. And again, it's one of those things that when you start out, you think, oh, it's going to be, we're going to be buying, 20, 30 bits and pieces. But of course, the spreadsheet comes in and you think, oh, right, okay, there's like 200 things we need to buy here. Now, because my background is graphic design, and I love that part of it. I love the building props and creating sort of the graphic side of it. So I'm going to take a fair bit of that off Alouette, because Alouette's doing the production side on her own. So it's quite a lot. She's doing costume and props. So quite a lot. So I've kind of said that we can do props between us. So yeah, we've been out this week and we've been around the charity shops, sort of thrift store shopping, looking for bits and pieces. And we found, good 2 shopping bags full of clothes yesterday for our main cast. And again, the whole thing is just a creative process, because Alouette's very creative. She's an artist. And I come from that creative background. So just seeing a prop and you think, oh, this is the one. And we kind of bond over buying a vase. And really enjoyable part of it is just, wandering around charity shops. You kind of, you can't believe it's your job when you're wandering, bartering over a £3 pair of trainers. But, no, it's great fun. Alouette's great. She's got a real eye for it. And she's also an amazing bargain hunter. So she's been out. We've got we needed a pet cage, and we had like 50 quid set aside in the budget to buy one. And she came marching out of a flea market the other day with a free one under her arm. so it's all that sort of stuff. It's all good stuff, and but really enjoyable part of it. But yeah, the graphic side of it. When you see the film in a few months' time, you will certainly spot some of my nonsense. Hopefully funny nonsense, but it is a lot of nonsense. It's
fantastic. And then just to wrap up this podcast, one of the challenges we've got at the moment is catering. So we've talked about lots of different ways about how to keep get food to the crew and the cast, and it's such an important element, isn't it? Well, it's so important to have everyone fed and watered properly, and that everyone's got the energy to continue with the shoot. And we've gone down the route of speaking to various different companies, and we haven't landed on our provider at this moment in time, shall we say? But yeah, I don't know if there's a huge amount to say other than that's kind of in process. But it's just recognizing the importance and catering for everyone's requirements for, dietary requirements, allergies, etc. It's one of those tasks we still need to get ticked off, as well as many others. So I know you've been speaking to a few of those companies, so I don't know if you have anything to add.
Well, only that it's one of those interesting ones, isn't it? 'Cause it's a non-creative part of this process, and it feels like it would be something that if we were on a £10 million movie, we just would never get near this. Because we're creating this project together, basically, is that you've got your people on set 17, 19, 20 a day, whatever. You've got your £12 a head you put aside for budget. So you stick that in the budget, and that's in the budget. That's that done. Of course, then you have to think about actually finding someone who can do it. And because we're spread, we're not spread out massively, but we're in kind of Brighton and mid Sussex, about an hour and a half away for a few of our scenes. So we're not, it's not an enormous amount of movement, but it's proved difficult. It's proved really hard to find someone. We've spoken to 4 or 5 caterers now, none of who can do it for our budget, or not even budget really. It's just logistically can't do it. And so we're battling on with that. But it's that's you mentioned earlier that the weeks just go sort of fizzing by, and I can see we're going to end up down at Tesco's. we can't do that. We can't end up down there. But,
no 20 days of Tesco meal deals.
No.
I think everyone would be going mad by the end of that. So, definitely. All right, cool. Well, listen, that brings us pretty much to the end of today's episode. So we'll be back next week with another episode and an update on the production. Anything to finish us off? I think that's kind of it, really.
Thanks a lot for listening. And like Matt said at the start, we've got our newsletter goes out once a month. If you want to sign up for more of this stuff, and keep listening and keep kind of on track of what we're up to here, and hopefully join us on our journey of making Zak the Ripper.
Yeah, absolutely. Like and subscribe and share
and all that stuff,
and all that jazz. That would be very helpful. Okay, brilliant. That's great stuff. Let's leave it there.